Recently, a article was published in the Sunday Gleaner, and it seems to have irked a number of politicians to say that politicians are now considered to be the most corrupt in Jamaica, based on the perspective of people or Jamaicans. And that seems to have taken many persons by surprise, and particularly those persons who are handlers of the Jamaica Labour Party or pro GLP supporters or pro GLP individuals. But I want to look at something. In 2007, a study was done by Waller, Bourne, Minto, and Rapley that said that the police was the most corrupt institution or body in Jamaica, followed by central government, customs, etc. And at that time, nobody said anything about that because the police was the entity that person saw as corrupt and person wanted the police force to be rid of corruption, and lengthy discussions were placed on the matter, and many persons actually were hammering the police at that point. In 2023, I did a study on corruption in Jamaica. We have now found that the guard has changed now to politicians followed by the police, and the political directorates are now appalled, disappointed, displeased with the data. But I want to actually look at some stuff that is happening there. 45% of Jamaicans believe that politicians are corrupt. Now, some person will argue that how can politicians be that corrupt in Jamaica? And none of them have actually gone to prison in the last, say, 20, 30 years. And I want to say something to you. Being corrupt does not mean you'll be caught. Because if you're able to play the system, then of course, you will not be found guilty. And Mr. P.J. Patterson has actually forwarded some thought to assist us to understand what is really happening in Jamaica when he said that the man that plays by the rules gets shafted, which means that an individual who wants to make life in Jamaica just have to be corrupt. That's exactly what he's saying, nothing else. Now, say all politicians would have known this. And remember, Mr. P.J. Patterson was the prime minister at the time when he uttered those words. So he knows it, and his other members know it. And those who are coming up in the politics know that the man that plays by the rule is shafted, which means that if you want to succeed in Jamaica, be corrupt. So if that is promulgated by a prime minister, political leader, political figurehead, then you are telling me that they're not corrupt people? If a prime minister can state categorically that to be corrupt is the way to go in Jamaica to survive, then I'm going to ask you the question, how do you think the system is going to be playing out? What do you think is happening among the political leaders? I'm just asking the question, what do you think is going to happen? Now, 10% of Jamaicans indicated from the study that I did that they are corrupt. They practice corrupt acts, which means 1 in every 10 Jamaican practice corrupt acts. No, that is good for the society, which means that the average person in Jamaica will be shafted. Because it means that 9 out of every 10 Jamaicans are not engaged in corruption or not practicing corruption. So, of course, those are the person that will be shafted. And it's no difficulty to understand why many Jamaicans are suffering or hurting because they're not engaged or indulging in corrupt activities. But one of the ironies to what is actually going on, when you ask Jamaicans, how many of them see various activities as being corrupt? 78% of Jamaicans do not see most of the things that are going on in Jamaica now in terms of stealing lies, stealing water, paying off the police as corrupt acts. So it means that 22% of Jamaicans have no issue with being engaged in corrupt activities. 22% of Jamaicans. Furthermore, another question was asked to Jamaicans. When you think of corruption, what comes to mind? And they answered politicians, police, etc. And that gives you a clear indication of the thought of the people and not that they were guided by the researcher. So that indicates to you that the people decide what they want to say, what they are thinking, what their thoughts are on the matter or were at the time. And for that, it means a whole lot. It means that the research, therefore, would have given you thick and rich information to say that the politicians are now leading the charge in terms of perceived corruption in Jamaica. But I also want to go further. When you ask Jamaicans, how many of them have ever gotten money to vote, paid to vote? 22% of Jamaicans indicated that they have got money to vote. So I'm going to answer the question. That is a clear indication of corruption. It's not only a matter of corruption, it's also a case of bribery. It means that in the last general elections in Jamaica, it means that the votes that were bought, one way or the other, would have actually swung the election in favor of the Jamaica Labour Party. It could mean that the Jamaica Labour Party bought more votes than the People's National Party. Remember that 11 out of every 50 Jamaicans indicated that they have been paid to vote. So what are we saying in Jamaica? There are a number of persons in Jamaica, if you do not vote, these vote-buying politicians are going to be winning the election based on just simply buying votes. But if buying vote is happening in Jamaica in that magnitude, then I'm going to ask you the question, why is that many of these politicians or their handlers are not in jail? And the answer is simple. The man who plays by the rule gets shafted. In other words, if you are corrupt, you'll survive in Jamaica. And that's clearly exactly what that is saying. No, am I saying that people should actually be corrupt? And I'm saying no, because the average person in Jamaica is not corrupt. And that's clearly one of the reasons why you're not going to make it. And I, Paul Andrewborn, will not make it either, because I'm not going to be playing by any corrupt law or rule or guideline or policy. No, a society that is actually based on that, and the notion is there that corrupt activities actually leading the charge in the society, cannot be and will never be a successful society. And that's what where Jamaica is. Society is going down the tubes each day because of the corrupt practices and the extent of corruption in the society. Now, you may ask me, how it is that we're talking about the extent of corruption when it's only 10% of the persons who are practicing it? Well, those 10% of persons who are practicing corrupt activities are destroying your future. And it's so pervasive among the 10% of persons that they have their tentacles in just about everything and making life even more difficult for you and I to make it. The society at the moment has a low level of trust, a high level of corruption, and those are ingredients for destruction. If the problem of corruption is not addressed in Jamaica, and we're talking about the corruption from the various stakeholders, the police, the scammers, the politicians, the central government, as well as the new kid on the block, JPS, we are saying the society is bound for destruction or destined to be destroyed. This beautiful place called Jamaica was never like this. And we have now gotten ourselves in a stage where corruption seems to be the order of the day. And a society that thrives on corruption not only will not make it, but is decaying from the inside. And that decay is going to affect the lives of everyone. When I say the life, I'm talking about the quality of your life and possibly your actual life itself, means your physical existence. Because a number of the things that are happening in Jamaica now have now expanded from just the individuals involved in these activities to casual bystanders. No. Can a society continue like this? And the answer is clearly no. The politicians are now the leading, the perceived leader of corruption in Jamaica, followed by the police. And now we have included in that group scammers and GPS. How it is that a company in Jamaica that deal with a critical service such as electricity is among or perceived to be among the leading entities that are corrupt. That is a sad state that society is in. What are your views? Like, share, and subscribe to this channel as I continue providing you, as I continue providing with trusted information. A corrupt society, a corrupt society.